hard to define in these times, but I got nothing but love on my mind. I need a baby while I'm in my prime. Need an adversary to my down and weary. Like, tell me that's life when I'm stressing at night. Be like, you'll be okay and everything's alright. Let me in nothing cause I'm not wanting anything but your love in your body and a little bit of your brain. These days are way too lonely. I'm missing out, I know. These days are way too alone, and I'm not forgiving love away, but I want someone to love me. I need someone who needs me, cause it don't feel right when it's late at night and it's just me and my dreams. So I want someone to love. That's what I really want. I want someone to love me. I need someone who needs me, cause it don't feel right when it's late at night and it's just me and my dreams. So I want someone to love. That's what I really want.
I saw the fire in your eyes. I saw the fire when I look into your eyes. You tell me things you wanna try. I know temptation is the devil in disguise. You risk it all to feel alive, yeah. You're offering yourself to me like sacrifice. You said you do this all the time. Tell me you love me if I bring you to the light. It's like a dream, what she feels with me. She loves to be on the edge. Her fantasy is okay with me. Then suddenly, baby says, take my breath away and make it last forever, babe. Do it now or never, babe. Take my breath.
Welcome to Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre. Your safety is important to us. We ask that you take a moment to watch this short safety video. Emergency exits are located throughout the venue and are easily identified by the emergency exit sign. Please take a moment to locate your nearest emergency exit. For everyone's safety, please keep the pathways and aisles clear at all times. In the event of an emergency, the alarm will be triggered and the warning light will flash. Please stay calm and wait for further instructions. If evacuation is required, an announcement will be made. Please move to the nearest emergency exit. Do not use the lifts. Follow the instructions given by our team members. And follow the emergency exit signs until you are outside the building, where you will be directed to the assembly point. The assembly point is located in the KLCC Park, where you will receive further instructions. Should you require any first aid assistance, please approach our team members. Kuala Lumpur Convention Centre is a non-smoking venue, and smoking is not permitted at any time in any part of the venue. We wish you a good day and an engaging experience today.
wanna change. It sounds like you lie.
Off this morning, we have Greg Jackson all the way from the UK speaking on the topic of green digital retailer, leveraging technology and data. And Greg is the founder and CEO of Octopus Energy Group, the energy technology group with 5.1 million customers globally, operations in 19 countries, and a £6 billion portfolio euros of renewable energy assets. Launched in 2016, Octopus Energy's mission is to bring cheaper, greener power to all through technology, and his vision using technology to disrupt the energy market has attracted over 1.5 billion worth of funding from international energy companies, large pension funds, and global investors. Please help me welcome Mr. Jackson.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
First of all, may I thank the leadership team and the organisers for last night's splendid dinner, which was not only incredibly enjoyable, but I learned so much already about Malaysia's leadership in the energy transition. But hey, a lot of you never heard of Octopus. Octopus Energy was founded to drive the energy transition faster and cheaper than anyone imagined. Our view is that we can't have an energy transition if we don't take citizens with us. For too long, citizens have been told that they're going to have to make sacrifices for a cleaner planet. But if we tell them that a clean planet is opposed to their interests, the transition can be slow and hard. But if we work hard to make it in their interests, so we'll find the transition will be faster, cheaper, and easier than anyone imagined. And ultimately, I think something that's often forgotten in energy is that it's all about the customer. Too often, I think, we get obsessed by gigawatts and megawatts and terawatts and all of the huge engineering that we can be incredibly proud of, the phenomenal financial complexity of building an energy system. But the reality is that that system would not exist. It wouldn't be needed if it were not for customers. And during the energy transition, customers are changing as much as the world of energy itself. As they move their transport from internal combustion engines to electric vehicles, as they electrify their households, as they get access to building generation on their own premises through things like rooftop solar, and as generation itself changes the very nature, the cost of the product they're buying, so their behavior will change. So this revolution is as much about consumers as it is about those of us in the industry who have to deliver the power and the energy that people need. Now, today, Octopus works globally. We partner with companies and government organizations across the world. We're present in at least 15 countries, helping deliver this vision of a consumer-focused energy transition. Now, a lot of people think of Octopus as being a technology company. But famously, in 1998, Jeff Bezos was asked why Amazon was building warehouses. The interviewer said, as a tech company, why are you building warehouses? And Jeff said, we're not a tech company, we're a consumer company. And I think many of the world's best tech companies are also the world's best consumer companies because we understand how to use technology to meet our customers' needs. And look, I don't think I can emphasize enough the extent to which this is a complete system change. A household with an electric vehicle uses twice as much electricity as a household without. They have a battery on their driveway that can hold nearly a week's worth of power for the average house. We worry with renewables that they're not dispatchable and controllable the way that fossil fuels are. But we forget that when they're generating, we have the cheapest power we've ever had, and it gets cheaper every year. The great powerhouses of energy. If you look at the Middle East, the price of solar is so astonishingly low. It's soon going to be cheaper to build cables across the world to carry their electricity than it is to build pipelines for their oil and gas. And this opens up astonishing new possibilities for consumers. By using the data that knows when electricity is cheapest and automatically controlling the equipment in their homes and their businesses, they can tap into this cheap power. And the more we can tap into the power when it's cheap, the less we have to worry about the times that it's less abundant, because we'll be using more when it is abundant. The entire system is turning on its head. And Octopus, I'm proud, is at the forefront of driving this change. We've invested billions of dollars in growing our business across these countries in order we can share the learnings of doing this at scale. So today, Octopus has 5.5 million retail customers. It's absolutely head and shoulders. I'll tell you what, I won't bother with this slide. You'll see some more on this side. Look at this. That's the Net Promoter Score for energy companies in the UK, according to Bain, the management consultancy. Octopus is bringing this dynamic, flexible version of the future to consumers, has a Net Promoter Score that is 39 points higher than the industry average. When we started the company, people said no one wants to think about energy, they just want the lights to come on. But the world has changed. Consumers love getting a bargain. And if we can give them a bargain when it's windy and when it's sunny, they will love the companies, the systems, the governments that provide them this opportunity, that make the energy transition work for them. And again, when we started, people said, hey, look, you're a small company, of course it works as a niche. But today, Octopus is the #2 energy company in the UK. And in a few months' time, it's well on course to be #1. And it's grown that from zero in a sector where challengers never overtake incumbents. But that's what's happened. And I'm not doing that to be boastful. I want to show you that consumers love this vision of the future, and they're flocking to it. And of course, technology is magic. Technology unlocks the ability to not only provide a service that people love, one that's cleaner, but also, actually, one that's more economically efficient. It's a lot more cost-effective to run a company the way I'm describing, using technology to provide your consumers with cheaper products, than it is to run it the old way. So you can see the difference in earnings per customer. And on the right-hand side, once customers have gone into this world, they never leave. I don't know if you've ever heard, there's this phrase about electric cars that says, once you've driven an electric car, you'll never go back. All right? Around the world, people worry, are we forcing people into electric cars? But the reality is, once they've tried them, they're better products. And it's the same for a cheaper, cleaner energy system. Customers won't go back. And I think it's our job, whether we're in a competitive energy market or a monopoly energy market, to bring the citizens what they really want, which is the benefits of this revolution. We've consumerized energy in the way that when you go to the supermarket, there may be 100 different offers, different ways of having an offer. Buy one, get one free. Buy two, get one free. 30% off, 20% off, 20 milliliters extra, 10 cents off. Buy it today, get it tomorrow. Well, there are so many ways we can wrap a product up. And energy is no different. So saving sessions, that's times when we text people and say, hey, look, the grid is going to be stressed today, and we're going to be turning on diesel generators that will cost you a fortune. But if you use less energy, we'll pay you. And we just pay you, I don't know, 50 cents, $1. But that's enough to get people to shift their consumption colossally. I'll show you on the next slide. Intelligent octopus. You got an electric car? Plug it in. We will optimize its charging every day. You don't think about it, we just optimize it. And we build that optimization on a dozen different signals: the grid price, the amount of stress on the grid in your area, the frequency response, anything we can do to optimize it. Every car gets a different charge every day. You'll see how much people love that in a second. That's the Intelligent Octopus growth rate. So just over a year ago, there were 600 electric vehicles on it. There are now 66,000. It's growing 26% every month. A year ago, people would have said, that's tiny, it makes no difference to the energy system. Today, it's 425 megawatts of shiftable load, reliably, absolutely reliable, predictable, and drivable by us. No human involvement, 100% automated. 1.6 billion data items every day are used to deliver that. Now, that growth rate, you're looking at gigawatts within a year or two. And today, electric vehicles are only about 4% of the fleet. Now, if you can achieve that with one company taking its share of 4% of a fleet that is growing, you can see that the system, we've hit the point of no return. The system has changed. The genie is out the bottle. Let me share the next slide. I talked about saving sessions. If we give people an app alert and tell them that we'll pay them 50 cents or $1 to use less power, that's just among Octopus customers, just this winter, the first time we introduced the product. Look at the drop in demand during peak times. Now, given our energy system, our electricity system is built all around how to handle a peak, if you can do that to the peak on your first go, how much money can we save in the energy system now by reducing the amount of capacity and the amount of backup generation and all of the expense we have if we just consumerize using technology? And this is how much people love it. They hit social media. People's reaction to pricing is interesting. It's not that they turn off the lights and sit in the dark. I mean, some might do. But, take the dog for a walk. All right? It turns out, if you go to the supermarket and rice is cheap, you might buy rice instead of pasta. If rice is expensive, you might go out for dinner. It's exactly the same with electricity. And then, using the same technologies, we can build homes where we guarantee there'll be no energy bill. We're now building homes that have solar panels, smart meter, a battery, and a heat pump. And we optimize it so we guarantee that there will never be an energy bill. Currently, we underwrite 5 or 10 years of no energy bill. And so let's just see a customer reaction to this new world that we're opening up.
We've always been conscious of...
Right, forgive the accent, this is a Scottish person.
Water, etc. And the whole thing was just so attractive. And it all seems to run very smoothly. There's no blackouts between one supply and the other. It gives you stability, you can plan. You don't have to worry about big bills in the winter. I think that's what a lot of people are scared of. You're helping yourself, you're helping the planet, you're cutting down CO2. It's a win-win all round.
Now, this isn't small stuff. I hope you've seen that with the electric vehicles, the consumer response, and then the ability to build homes that don't require any power or energy from the grid. We're not only creating a cleaner world, but it's a more secure one. If we look at the winter we've just had, countries in Europe were worried about their gas supply. The knock-on effects meant that coal shortages occurred in countries that are more reliant on coal. These are the technologies that can enable us to have a more resilient and secure world while it becomes cleaner. And the same applies as we consumerize even generation. Here's a product.
A similar scheme is already run by the energy company Octopus in Market Wheaton in Yorkshire. This is the view from their customer James Lang's window.
Because it's wind, we actually do look at whether the wind is blowing hard or not and use electrical appliances accordingly, because it makes sense. If it's definitely 50% electricity, switch on the washing machine or the dishwasher.
Opposition parties.
So that's a product where we give people 50% off their electricity if they live near a wind turbine and it's windy. And so what they do, when it's windy, that's when they do their washing. They also go and buy electric cars and charge them when it's windy. By consumerizing the entire, by reinventing the entire energy system, we bring the cost down and make life easier to deliver that security. But I think technology is also unlocking other areas too. And of course, it's 2023, so by law, I have to talk about AI. And interestingly, Octopus, now 45% of all of our customer emails are answered by AI. And it's because having all this data, all the data in the back end, enables you to innovate at a pace that others can't. So the AI has read every single email, every phone call the company's ever received, and uses that to generate responses to consumers. A response written by a human gets a 65% satisfaction rating. A response written by AI gets 85%. So that technology now enabling us to create more responsiveness with less cost. And taking the idea of the system reinvention further, Octopus is backing a project to build a 200 square mile solar farm in Morocco, and the cable to bring that power to the UK. 3.6 gigawatts of clean power all year round. Now, the reason I can tie all these ideas back together is Moroccan sunshine is roughly when UK sunshine is. So there's an argument that says, actually, you know, does that shape of power help? But actually, in a world where we can shift demand around, 3.6 gigawatts of daytime power is enough to power millions of electric vehicles. We can literally be shifting their demand to meet the supply of solar and start building these global interconnectors. And I think if we think about the offtake as being shiftable, it unlocks solutions for $20 billion investments. But that investment is only possible because we can shift the consumption. And I guess to finalize, the message I really wanted to land is that as leaders, we often worry that we have to deliver the energy system of the past to meet the needs of our citizens. Too often I speak to politicians whose need is to deliver a popular solution, but have been told that popularity is the system that we grew up with. I hope you can see the extent to which consumers absolutely love the system we can build instead. Social media is full of people who truly love the ability to get the cheapest power they've ever had, that's also the cleanest and the most secure, and is building a better future for their children and for our planet. That's the opportunity we have by building green energy retail. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. We'll make time for perhaps 2 questions. That's on Slido. So this is, it's got 5 likes. Do you see Octopus's play will be viable in a regulated market? If yes, any advice on how we can make it work?
Yes. So look, the first thing is that regulators want the same things. Regulators want the cheapest route to a clean, secure energy system, and one that consumers will love. It's harder for regulators to take the risks that a private company can take in a competitive market, because in a competitive market, if a company makes the wrong decision, it will fail. The reason I wanted to share Octopus's growth and success today is not to be boastful, but to give confidence that now we have proven repeatedly at scale the opportunities for a flexible system to provide better consumer solutions that are cheaper, and that technology is the very core of delivering that. And I hope that regulators, we will open our doors to regulators from around the world and to the companies that work in their environment to share case studies.
Right. Another question here. On a somewhat monopolistic market, would it be hard to implement what Octopus Energy has done?
Again, I think the opportunity of competitive markets was to try new ideas. Now look at the UK, 30 companies failed. Okay, so a lot of new ideas didn't work. But this new idea is the one that's almost taken over the market now. And now we've proven this, I think the opportunity in monopoly markets is actually possibly greater. And that's because in the competitive fragmented market, we're very reliant on the price signals that the regulator puts onto the grid. And at the moment, the price signals are very weak. There isn't enough digitization of the grid. The grids across Europe and other competitive markets are not digitized enough. But in a monopoly market, you have the opportunity to drive that faster and to deliver better outcomes for citizens at a pace actually that the competitive markets may find difficult. So I would love to talk with monopoly markets about the ways that price signals and digitization across the entire system will deliver a cheaper overall energy system, which I think is the big prize we all want.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Jackson. A round of applause.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Our next speaker is an iconic name, so let's watch this video by way of an introduction.
Tan Sri Dato Sri Dr. Jeffrey Chia is the founder and chairman of Sunway Group, one of Southeast Asia's leading conglomerates, and the founder and trustee of Jeffrey Chia Foundation. Adopting a social enterprise model, the foundation is the largest of its kind in advancing education in Malaysia. Born in the small tin mining town of Pusing in the state of Perak, Tan Sri grew up surrounded by the ugly scars of disused mining pools and witnessed firsthand how poverty closed off avenues of advancement for many families. These formative experiences shaped Tan Sri's conviction that quality education offers the best route out of poverty and that sustainable development is vital to the nation's future well-being. After returning from Melbourne, Australia as a business graduate, he joined a local motor assembly plant as an accountant. He turned to entrepreneurship not long after, with a vision to transform 800 acres of abandoned mining lakes into Sunway City, Kuala Lumpur today, Malaysia's first integrated green township. The very founding of Sunway Group is based on the concept of sustainable development. Tan Sri's business success has allowed him to realize his lifelong dream of setting up a foundation dedicated to nation building and giving back to society. The foundation has disbursed 670 million ringgit in scholarships and grants as of 2023, and it is Tan Sri's goal to give out several billion ringgit in scholarships during his lifetime. The foundation also established active partnerships with top-tier universities such as Cambridge, Oxford, and Lancaster in the UK, and Harvard, MIT Boston, and UC Berkeley in the US. Such collaborations facilitate knowledge transfer and make world-class expertise accessible to Malaysians. Through the foundation, Tan Sri has also gifted $20 million to the United Nations to establish the Jeffrey Sachs Center on Sustainable Development and the Asia headquarters of the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network, both at Sunway University, to lead continent-wide sustainability initiatives. In 2021, Sunway University set up the Sunway Center for Planetary Health, which is working with existing institutions at the university to further advance the sustainability agenda in this part of the world. Tan Sri is one of 4 co-chairs driving Mission 4.7, a global initiative for the United Nations that aims to mandate governments worldwide to include a sustainability curriculum in all schools, from kindergarten to secondary school levels. For his commitment to nation building and full embrace of the sustainability agenda, Tan Sri has been conferred 12 honorary doctorates by leading universities worldwide. He is also a member of Harvard University's Global Advisory Council and the only Malaysian and the second philanthropist in Asia to have been recognized 4 times as Forbes Asia Hero of Philanthropy. In 2008, Tan Sri was appointed by Australia's Prime Minister an Officer of the Order of Australia, one of the country's most prestigious and highest recognitions conferred to a non-citizen.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome up on stage Tan Sri, Dato Sri Dr. Jeffrey Chia, AO, founder and chairman of Sunway Group.
Yang berbahagia Nik Nasmi Nik Ahmad, Minister of Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change. I think he's yet to arrive. Dato Indira Engineer Baharin bin Din, President and CEO of Tenaga National Berhad. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I was told I have only 20 minutes, and I shall rush it through. A very good morning to all of you. I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me to share my views on the sustainability agenda from a corporate and philanthropic perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in a time of extreme uncertainty. Soaring inflation, deepening polarization, and widening inequalities pose major challenges worldwide. Just last month, more than 200 of the world's top economists signed an open letter urging the UN and the World Bank to act decisively to reverse the rising levels of social and economic inequality. In addition, there is a war raging in the heart of Europe, while US-China tensions are growing. And above all, looms climate change, which poses a threat to the very survival of humanity. Our planet is burning up and drowning, literally. The world just experienced its hottest ever month in July this year, since such records have been kept. And Europe and the US are going through a heat wave. Wildfires and raging across continents, and record rainfalls are causing massive floods in many parts of the world. As the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said, and I quote, "The era of global warming has ended. The era of global boiling has arrived," unquote. Hence, the conversations taking place at gatherings such as the one here today are critical to meet the challenges that we are facing in our small planet Earth. This conference, organized by TNB and one of the region's leading utility companies, with the participation of our Prime Minister as well as our environment and economic ministers, demonstrates that Malaysia is serious about the net zero agenda. And given the challenges the world is facing, I fully believe that implementing the Sustainable Development Agenda is no longer an option, but an urgent imperative. And we need new ideas and new strategies. I am firmly convinced that we cannot overcome the challenges of the digital age by using analog mindsets. And we need to act now. Ladies and gentlemen, I confess that I am neither an academic nor an expert. I'm just an entrepreneur doing business with a heart, and a philanthropist committed to nation building and shaping a better world. As an entrepreneur, I am focused on outcomes. As a philanthropist, I am committed to making a positive impact in our world. As such, allow me to share with you some and how and what Sunway Group and the Jeffrey Chia Foundation are doing in implementing the sustainability agenda through our corporate and philanthropic arms. At Sunway, we are committed to a holistic and comprehensive approach regarding the sustainability agenda. You have seen in the video earlier what we are doing at Sunway in walking the talk. And Sunway City, Kuala Lumpur was developed on an 800-acre piece of abandoned mining land, which we rehabilitated and restored. The city houses 3 top private universities, several colleges, international schools, public, private, primary and secondary school, as well as the internationally recognized Sunway Medical Center, the largest private hospital in Malaysia with more than 1,100 beds, with 32 centers of excellence. It is also home to Malaysia's first theme park, 3 hotels with more than 1,500 rooms, the first theme mega mall, commercial buildings, and private residences. Our very own public transport system is powered by electric buses that run on specially designed elevated lanes serving our township. We have also commissioned a state-of-the-art water treatment plant to ensure water security for communities in our township. Covered elevated walkways connect the city, providing a safe, healthy, and alternative means of getting around. Not only does this reduce our collective carbon footprint, it is also in line with the 15-minute city concept. Sunway City, Kuala Lumpur serves a vibrant community of more than 200,000 people living, working, playing, and studying in a safe, healthy, and connected environment. And our unique build, own, operate model ensures that we partner with the communities we serve, sharing their concerns and celebrating their successes. Ladies and gentlemen, we are replicating the Sunway City Kuala Lumpur model at our other townships in Malaysia. They are Sunway City Ipoh and Sunway City Iskandar Puteri, Johor. With Sunway City Ipoh, our focus is on biodiversity, conservation, and preservation of the environment, including lush rainforests, flowing thermal hot springs, and 260 million year old limestone hills and caves. It would have been much easier to just bulldoze these hills and chop down trees in pursuit of profits, but we chose this path of preservation in line with our commitment to sustainability. We are addressing food security through our organic farm at Sunway City Ipoh, which produces vegetables free of chemical and pesticide. And our agri-tech arm, Sunway X Farms, is now operating Kuala Lumpur City Centre's largest indoor vertical farm at Sunway Tower, just less than 10 minutes drive from here. At Sunway City, Iskandarputri, we are developing nature's capital city. The place's natural beauty, such as the seafront facing Singapore across the Strait of Johor, the 17-kilometer Pendas River, and mangrove forests are all preserved in their natural habitat as far as possible during development. And ladies and gentlemen, our embrace of the sustainability agenda is summed up in our vision statement, which is to be Asia's model corporation in sustainable development, innovating to enrich lives for a better tomorrow. And last year, we took our commitment to sustainability one step further by implementing an internal carbon pricing framework to achieve net zero by 2050. If any of our 13 business divisions fail to meet their decarbonization targets, they will be penalized by having amount deducted from their bonus pool. Yeah, we are very serious. We are also the first corporation in Malaysia and among the first in the region to implement such a robust carbon reduction strategy. This is in line with our commitment to the triple P, bottom line of planet, people, and prosperity. And at Sunway, we firmly believe that we can all do well by doing good. As such, I believe that the discussions regarding the challenges we face should expand beyond the fields of science and data. It is equally vital to promote and project ethical values if we are to succeed in building a sustainable future. As the late Mahatma Gandhi said, and I quote, "The world has enough for everyone's needs, but not for everyone's greed," unquote. If I may add, apart from addressing the issue of greed, we also need to tone down stupidity and arrogance in the world today, and we have seen a lot of late. At Sunway, our core values are integrity, humility, and excellence. These values have served me well in my personal life and professional career. In this context, I welcome the government's Madani concept in the approach to development with its emphasis on ethical values such as care and compassion, respect and trust. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, in line with our approach to sustainability, our corporate and philanthropic arms in concert to achieve our goals. In this respect, I established the Jeffrey Chia Foundation in 2010 by giving my entire stakes in Sunway Education Group to the foundation in perpetuity. The gift was valued as at several billion ringgit then. The foundation owns and governs all entities under the Sunway Education Group in a not-for-profit structure, making quality education affordable and accessible to as many qualified Malaysians as possible. All financial surpluses are plowed back into the foundation for research, scholarships, grants, expansion of facilities, and recruitment of top-notch faculty. Not a single cent goes into my pocket nor the bank account of my family members. And to date, the foundation has awarded scholarships and grants amounting to over 670 million ringgit. My goal is to give out several billion ringgit in scholarship during my lifetime. In other words, the longer I live, the more I will give. Ladies and gentlemen, the foundation set up many Jeffrey Chia professors globally and also established active partnerships with several world-renowned universities. These include Cambridge, Oxford, and Lancaster University in the UK, as well as Harvard, MIT Boston, and University California, Berkeley in the US. Of particular relevance to our discussion today is our joint research with MIT Boston on carbon capture, where any commercial value stemming from this research, intensive research, will be shared 50-50 between Sunway University and MIT. This reflects a great endorsement of Sunway University from an institution ranked among the top in the world. Along with this, we have also established the Jeffrey Chia Biomedical Center at Cambridge University. It is the centerpiece of the largest biotech campus outside the US, and I was told we have 300 scientists working in that building. These collaborations enable us to bring cutting-edge research and world-class knowledge to Malaysia. I always believe that to be the best, we need to learn from the best and work with the best in the world. It is my lifelong dream for Sunway University to be one day known as the Harvard or Cambridge of the East. I set very high benchmark for my people to achieve what we want to do. Ladies and gentlemen, in pursuing our commitment to the sustainability agenda, the Jeffrey Chia Foundation has also gifted $20 million to the United Nations Sustainable Development Solutions Network, or AUNSDSN. A substantial portion of these funds are used to establish the Jeffrey Sachs Center on Sustainable Development and the Asia headquarters of the UN SDSN, both at Sunway University here. The Asia headquarters is one of the only 3 such global centers in the world working on continent-wide sustainability solutions. It ranks Sunway City Kuala Lumpur here, which oversees Asia, alongside with New York City, which covers the Americas, and Paris, and which oversees Europe and Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, I firmly believe that each of us should have a higher purpose in life. For me personally, that purpose is to give back to society in an impactful manner and building a better world. My personal motto is I aspire to inspire before I expire. And I hope what we are doing at Sunway and the Jeffrey Chia Foundation will inspire others to adopt and further advance the sustainability agenda. At Sunway and the Jeffrey Chia Foundation, we have fully embraced the UN's 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs as we all know. And our efforts are driven by the conviction that realizing the SDGs is not the responsibility of governments alone. And building a sustainable future requires the commitment of all elements of society. That is, the private sector, the academia, civil society, and each and every one of us. We are all in this together, ladies and gentlemen. And in undertaking this mission, I trust we will rely on our integrity as our guide, humility as our virtue, and the pursuit of excellence as our choice, delivered with compassion, justice, and equality. Thank you, and wishing you a productive conference.
The youth of today are always in search of extremes, but it's by maintaining balance that we truly find happiness. Which is why I'm here in Iskandar, Malaysia, to meet with a man that's taken balance to the extreme. By maintaining 40% of local flora and fauna, Sunway has ensured a beneficial harmony between natural surroundings and nurturing experiences. That's right.
Hi, Nick.
You've done it again. I mean, what inspires you? This place is beautiful.
Well, Nick, education is the best way out of poverty. And it is crucial, very, very crucial that we give to our younger generation. I believe that for sustainable development of a nation, it is education. Sunway always lead the way. We walk the talk, and I believe in that very much.
More than 12,000 trees are being tended to in this tree nursery. For every tree removed in the development, one or two more are put back in their place. And naturally, all this hard work starts at the source, the Pendus River. This is the lifeblood of the place, which is why Sunway is working really hard to maintain the water quality, which means the animals and plants that call this place home can continue to live in harmony here. And the lessons learnt can be applied elsewhere in Malaysia. Today, Sunway, tomorrow, the world.
Another round of applause again for Tan Sri, Dato Sri, Dr. Jeffrey Chia. And I believe the Sunway Group celebrates its 50th anniversary next year, right? Thank you again, Tan Sri, for your sharing. Next, we have Dr. Ari van Berkel, the Senior Vice President and Group Director of Lux Research, speaking about technology and capabilities and how we can empower the energy transition in the power sector. Please help me welcome Dr. Ari.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Microphone is working. That's always good. So, good morning. Thank you for inviting me. Special thanks to TMB for having me here. It's an honor to be here, and it's a pleasure to be talking to you all. When I was invited, they asked me to present the solutions and the capabilities for the energy transition. I was very happy to do that. I said, give me a week, I can tell you all about the solutions. Turns out I have 20 minutes. So I had to make a couple of choices. And it's my purpose today to give you a framework of how to think about the solutions. And I think the framework is really important, and that's also why a roadmap is really important. What we're about to do, or what we have started doing already in the energy transition, is, in essence, transform a system that we built over the past 200 years, roughly starting with the Industrial Revolution. We are now about to fundamentally transform it in only 20 years. Every choice we make in the energy transition, whether it's from the energy from the electricity sector or from the chemical industry or any other part of society, any choice we make affects all the other sectors. Everything is linked and everything is moving at the same time at record speed. And my previous speaker already talked about education, and I'm very happy he did that, because 20 years is also less than one generation. So not only are we changing the entire system, we're also having to re-educate a lot of people. Everyone will have to learn new skills and capabilities. So I think having a framework is really useful. Let's get started on that. When you think about the energy transition and you think about it in terms of technology and solutions, the first thing you have to do is wonder, what is this energy transition now all about? What are we actually talking about? So, in technical terms, I think you can sum up the energy transition by two big movements. The end of combustion and the electrification of everything. And notice everything is in quotes. I don't think we'll get to electrify quite everything, but a lot at least. Combustion has been probably the most important invention of mankind, right? I know the wheel usually takes the credit, right? Everything's compared to the invention of the wheel. Combustion is way more important. And if you look at Greek mythology, for example, you will see that the Greek gods were angered by the disclosure of fire as a secret to mankind. However, I am not aware of any of Greek myths that are saying that the gods were particularly angered about the invention of the wheel. So combustion was really important and continues to be really important. Electricity, we harnessed electricity only about 125 years ago, maybe 135. But the invention, the discovery of electricity and the implementation on a large scale in society created fundamental changes in society. It liberated manufacturing from the single axis, the single drive axis. If you go to old factories, you can see that they're very long because they're built around one single axis. It made it much more flexible, but of course, much more profoundly, it led to semiconductors and everything that's derived from that. So only 125 years ago, we built electricity, and as a result, I can be on a stage here, having wonderful lights behind me, and having perhaps a recording of what I'm doing and being amplified the way I am. These two big changes, we're now starting to end combustion. Combustion has scaled too much. There's a fire in every car, there's a fire in every home, we're cooking on fires. There's too much combustion going on, and it leads to air pollution, but we also now know it leads to global warming, at least if you combust the wrong thing. And electrification is only just getting started. So if you look at just a couple of samples from the news, and my company watches the news and collects information about it, just a couple of samples from the news of the past 5 or 6 months, you can see the end of combustion and electrification in action. Many cities are planning to outlaw the use of internal combustion engines within the city borders. Europe is planning to outlaw internal combustion engines as of 2035. Not on the roads, but in the showroom. And you can see electrification plans everywhere, right? People are developing electric vehicles. People are producing chemicals using electricity these days. So, as we have these two motions, there are a couple of things to safeguard. So if you look at the energy transition and solutions, then what are we trying to solve for? Well, there are in my opinion, three main things that led to the prosperity we have today that we need to safeguard. The first one is security of energy supply. Right? We can flip a switch and we have light. We can switch on the television. We don't need to mind whether it's sunny today or raining. The television just works. So can we secure energy when we need it? If you look at the book by David McKay, and if you haven't read it, I highly recommend that you do take a look. It's a book called Renewable Energy Without the Hot Air. It was written by David McKay, a distinguished professor who sadly died about 8 years ago now, but his book lives on. He points out that one person can deliver the amount of labor roughly equivalent to 1 kilowatt hour per day. So by that measure, everyone in Malaysia today has 12 people working for them just from electricity use. Right? That's the power of having energy available to you whenever you need it. Affordable heat is going to be a problem, because if we stop combusting, then of course, where does the heat come from? And heat is going to be more expensive. Renewable energy, like solar and wind, produce electricity directly. They don't use a fire, they don't use heat as an intermediate. And as a result, you will need to use electricity to produce heat. Therefore, electricity is going to be cheaper than heat in the future. Our entire society today is built on the premise that heat is cheaper than electricity. So we built all of our systems, all of our manufacturing systems, the wrong way around. That's an issue, and we have to deal with it. And finally, if we're no longer going to use carbon, if we're no longer going to use fossil resources, then how are we going to get the carbon that is used in nearly everything we use? Right? This thing here is plastic. It's made out of carbon. The carpet, made out of carbon. The screen behind me, made out of carbon. And I could go on, point out nearly everything in the room, it's made out of carbon. We need to assure sustainable sources of carbon. And of course, you can break those challenges down in further challenges. I'll let you read those, but if you look at those further challenges and you start to think about solutions, then it helps to break them down into two ways. One is, what are we trying to solve for? Is it an energy or a raw materials thing? The other one is, what kind of solution is needed? Do we need to manage it differently? Is it a dynamic solution that we need? Or do we need to change the structure and the fabric of our economy? Is it a static solution that we need? And of course, those are continuous. Most issues require both a different way of managing and a different economic structure, a different static solution. And most of these challenges affect both energy and raw materials. And this makes the entire energy transition linked. Everything is linked to everything else. Every decision we take is linked to every other decision we have to take. And therefore there are choices to make, but the choices have to be made in a cohesive manner and in a collaborative manner. If you look at the dynamic changes, you can see that digital technology can help a lot there, right? If we need to manage things differently, our digital technology can help us do that and can enable solutions that were previously unthinkable. And let's not forget about social engineering. Let's not forget about changes in society that are required. Now, that is not unheard of. When large-scale coal-fired power was introduced, we had to deal with the issue of baseload, which means we had to deal with the issue that during the night, electricity consumption is a lot lower, a lot less than during the day. And we made changes to our societies to do that. We introduced lower tariffs at night. We taught people that it was better to do the laundry at night because then you would increase the energy consumption a little bit. So adapting your life pattern to availability of energy is not unheard of. And we have to do that again. At the same time, To change the structure, we need new technologies. We need a new structure. We need to implement completely new systems. And again, that also requires new capabilities. It requires re-education of our engineering workforce. It requires different ways of operating. It also requires for everyone in society to have a different relation. For example, you may get instruments, you may get tools and devices in your home that weren't there before. You may get a battery in your home, and you have to learn how to deal with that. Now, I'm going to focus on just 3 of these challenges here as a way of showing what kind of choices are possible. I'll briefly go into the nature of those challenges, and I'll show you a couple of solution directions, just to show you what kind of solutions are possible and what kind of choices, therefore, are possible. I won't comment on what choices you have to make. And the reason for that is I don't know Malaysia well enough to be recommending any choices. And also, you are going to be presented with a roadmap shortly. So this will help you read the roadmap, but I'm not going to redo the roadmap, obviously. So just looking at 3, if they had given me the entire week, I would have talked about everything. Don't worry. But I'll just look at those 3 now, and those will be about simultaneity, power density, and intermittency. What do I mean by simultaneity? Well, our electricity system is built on the idea that as human beings, we don't do everything synchronized. And that means that if you have, let's say, an 8 kilowatt connection to your home, and you're in a neighborhood with 100 homes, then your neighborhood does not need a transformer station of 800 kilowatts. The total capacity of the grid can be much lower than the sum of all the connections. And in fact, it is much lower. It's only about 20%. That's because we don't always, all at once, max out the use of our connection. And it works, and it's economical. Here's the problem. If we become more weather dependent, unfortunately, the weather appears to be quite synchronized in a neighborhood. So I don't know about you, but when my neighbor gets sunshine, usually I also get sunshine. I hardly ever have my own personal rain shower. It sometimes happens, but that's just me, I think. So weather-related things like heating and cooling your home tend to be highly synchronized. And once they become electric, they mess with the system, and we need to increase the size of the distribution grid. On the other hand, new applications like vehicle charging that depend on human behavior are well behaved. We may still need to increase the capacity, but just because we need to use more, but the logic that we can limit the total capacity of the grid to about 20% of the sum of connections still is true. However, if you go for solar panels, again, everyone gets sun at the same time, so solar panels do require a large increase in the capacity of the grid. And by a large increase, I mean, if you look at this picture, a factor of 4 at least. So we need to build 3 times the distribution grid we have now, once more, in the next 20 years. Or do we? Well, let's see if there are other solutions. So some other solutions are looking at vehicle to grid, for example. So can you get your electric vehicle to assist in managing this? The more batteries you install on a local level, the easier it gets and the less upgrade to the grid is required. Same thing about behind the meter batteries, BTM, behind the meter. So batteries in your home. Remember I told you, you will get a battery in your home. and how to manage that. And we already see, which was very interesting, during the, as a result of the war in Ukraine, of course, Europe experienced scarcity in energy. Energy prices became very high. A number of people decided to have a dynamic contract for electricity, which means that the electricity prices fluctuate every 15 minutes. You can now see debates on the internet where people are planning. They're looking a day ahead and they're saying, maybe the electricity price will be much lower during the afternoon tomorrow. I think I'll charge my car tomorrow, or I think I'll do the laundry tomorrow afternoon. People are adjusting their schedules, their lives, to energy availability, driven by price. And finally, you can have trading of energy at the distribution level, which helps to optimize the use of energy at that level, and thereby prevents a much needed upgrade. Will this help? It will. Will it prevent us from having to quadruple the distribution grid? It will. Will it solve everything? No. We probably still need to double the distribution grid, but we just reduced the problem by half. And of course, all of these things require new capabilities. This can only work if people behave in a different way and learn how to do different things. So every one of us will need to learn about electricity. We'll need to maybe get into the habit of figuring out what the weather is tomorrow. And if you could do some energy-intensive things in your home tomorrow rather than next week, for example. All right, power density. What's the problem of power density? Well, our industrial estates use about 50 megawatts per square kilometer. Renewable energy produces between 1 and 4 megawatt per square kilometer. And this is very different from what we're used to. We're used to having concentrated energy available for our industrial estates. So now, how are we dealing with that? We need to get either concentrated energy available, so which is not solar energy. I'm looking to change the slides. And that's a possibility with nuclear, for example. Dow Chemical is investing in X energy. And nuclear energy is a concentrated form of energy. Another possibility is to use a collector, an efficient way to collect energy, which is hydrogen, for example. And finally, what we can do is downscale our processes, just redesign our industry to be less energy intensive in terms of energy per square kilometer. And again, this requires completely new capabilities. This requires re-education and a change in the way our systems work. And some of the new capabilities, for example, are about new permitting processes. If we want to use nuclear energy near large industrial estates, we need a new way to permit. So finally, and I will go quickly here because this is the most debated part, is about intermittency. Everyone talks about intermittency, about the fact that the sun doesn't always shine, that sometimes there's a lot of wind, sometimes there is not so much wind. And basically, you need three interconnected ways to solve for that. And that's you need long duration energy storage, you need to vary your generation, and you need to make your demand more flexible. So, starting with varied generation, so starting with flexible demand, sorry. I will quickly go to varied generation. So flexible demand, we already talked about behind-the-meter batteries and things like that. Variety of generation, there are emission-free sources of energy that are actually stable, that you can use, that you can dispatch when you like it. However, these sources of energy, if I seem distracted, it's because I'm trying to move the slides on. Yes. these sources of energy are not yet fully scaled. We need a lot of additional development. As you can see, a lot of these developments, there are a lot of these developments, but they're mostly in the pilot or even the conceptual stage and not yet scaling to full scale. So we need to put a lot more effort in on this. If you look at long duration energy storage, there are several options. I won't go into the details of this picture, but what you can see is there are low-cost options like lithium-ion batteries, flow batteries, or compressed air energy storage. CAES is compressed air energy storage. And different options are suitable for different combinations of duration and system size. And you have to make the proper combination. Why do you have to make the proper combination? Because most batteries are not used in just one single use case. So, for example, you can have a large battery that is only used 52 times a year, or you can have a medium-sized battery that is used twice a day. But in most cases, one and the same battery will be used in both applications, and therefore you have to make proper choices. Now, I told you, trying to move to the last slide here. Yes. So, we're about to have an address by the Prime Minister, so I feel like I have to clear the stage, and I will. I told you I could talk for a week, and trust me, I will if you give me a chance. But here's the key things that I think you should remember from me talking to you for so long. We need structural solutions, and we need dynamic solutions. We need new capabilities for everyone, and we need also to change the hardware and the fabric of our economy. We need to do it in a coordinated fashion, because every decision in every sector affects everyone else. We need to look at social and digital revolutions at the same time, because they are the enablers. They allow us to make these changes that we need. And finally, there are many choices to make, and there's no right way to make choices as long as you make coordinated choices. So do you go for nuclear energy or not? Both are possible, but make sure that you are fully aware of the system consequences of all of the different choices. With that, I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ibrahim. The Prime Minister is making his way here. Yes, the Prime Minister is making his way here. As we all wait with bated breath. Ladies and gentlemen, announcing the arrival of Yang Amat Berhormat Dato Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, the Prime Minister of Malaysia.
Peradaban kita bangunkan, bina kota, bina insan, dari budi jadi budaya, bina asas kemampanan, kesejahteraan masa depan. Ayo seluruh anak pertiwi, bangunkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Ayo seluruh anak pertiwi, semarakkan Malaysia madani, sepenuh hati, jiwa, semangat, terus meyakini Malaysia madani. Keyakinan jadi ikutan, pendirian jiwa ihsan.
All right, I'd like to invite the photographers perhaps to move to their seats as we'll be starting in a short while. Thank you to the photographers for your cooperation.
Kesejahteraan masa depan.
Please, let's rise for our national anthem. Please be seated. We shall begin with bacaan doa by Al-Fadir Ustaz Haji Fajuri bin Mamat from TNB.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Hamdan hamidin, hamdan syakirin, hamdan yuwafi ni'amahu wa yukafi'u mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhikal karim wa azimi sultanik. Segala puji bagi Allah, Tuhan pentadbir seluruh alam. Tuhan yang memiliki kekuasaan dan pengurniaan. Tuhan yang mendengar setiap permintaan dan Tuhan pemakbul segala doa. Selawat dan salam ke atas junjung besar Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, kaum keluarga baginda dan para sahabatnya. Allahumma ya mudabbirul kauni, ya Allah ya Tuhan kami, kurniakanlah kami lisan yang lembut basah dalam mengingati dan menyebut nama-nama-Mu, hati yang penuh segar kerana mensyukuri setiap nikmat-Mu, badan yang ringan kerana menyempurnakan ketaatan kepada perintah-Mu, dengan dikurniakan iman yang sempurna, hati yang khusyuk, ilmu yang berguna, serta keyakinan yang benar-benar mantap. Allahumma ya kashifal kurubat, ya muqilal asharat. Ya Allah, bersempena dengan persidangan Peralihan Tenaga TMB 2023 di pagi yang damai ini, kami berhimpun serta memohon doa, semoga Engkau rahmatilah persidangan yang kami adakan ini. Engkau sempurnakan setiap perancangan kami demi kebaikan serta manfaat yang berguna kepada semua, dengan dijauhi dari sebarang bentuk kekecewaan dan kegagalan. Sesungguhnya kami ketahui, ya Allah, ubun-ubun kami berada dalam genggaman-Mu. Justru Engkau kekalah nikmat keselamatan dan perpaduan di kalangan kami. Hindarlah kami dari berburuk sangka yang membawa kepada perpecahan yang merugikan. Tanamkanlah dalam setiap hati kami perasaan kasih sayang, saling membahu di antara satu sama lain, tanpa mengira agama dan bangsa, demi untuk umat dan watan. Allahumma ya Halimu ya Alim, ya Allah ya Tuhan kami, Engkau lindungilah Tenaga Nasional Berhad dari sebarang bentuk kemunduran dan keburukan. Suburkanlah semangat kental bagi setiap pimpinan dan warga kerjanya untuk terus berkhidmat dengan dihimpunkan sepenuh kekuatan mental, fizikal dan spiritual. Semoga dengan ini Tenaga Nasional Berhad dapat terus menjadi peneraju pembekalan tenaga utama negara, terus menabur bakti kepada ummah, menjadi pelindung dan penyelamat maruah negara, dan bagi merealisasikan cita-cita mulia kerajaan madani. Allahumma ya Allah ya Tuhan kami, Engkau jadikanlah pertemuan kami ini pertemuan yang bermanfaat, dan perpisahan kami selepas ini perpisahan yang Engkau rahmati dan berkati, serta kekal mesra dalam ingatan yang berpanjangan. Amin, amin ya rabbal alamin. Allahumma rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azaban nar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Taqabbalallahu minkum.
A step forward, a change towards a future powered by good energy. For here we believe in possibilities, in our capabilities to innovate, to always find ways. With the sun, its powerful glow, and the water, its relentless flow, with the wind that greatly blows, and energy that goes and goes, to create, to transform, to set the new norm. Gerald! This is our future, where we believe a life of sustainability does not deter. Our dedication, our commitment, our passion to the planet, and all that lives in it. For we believe that it starts with a step, a small, no, seemingly small act. But compounded, duplicated, imitated creates a big, very big impact. So this is our aspiration. Net Zero 2050, our destination. Accelerating a responsible energy transition. Our dream for the future, ready to be brought into realization. For we believe better energy comes when we act
together.
Together. Together. Together. Let's make this world a more sustainable one for us all.
Yes, better energy comes when we act together. Yang Amat Berhormat Dato Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia. Yang Berhormat Tuan Rafizi bin Ramli, Minister of Economy Malaysia. Yang Berhormat Tuan Nik Nazmi bin Nik Ahmad, Minister of Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change Malaysia. Yang Amat Berhormat Chief Minister of Perak Malaysia, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Economy Malaysia, and other ministers, excellencies, ambassadors, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Dato Sri Muhammad Baqi bin Saleh, Chairman of Petronas, Yang Mulia Tan Sri Tengku Muhammad Taufik bin Tengku Kamajaja Aziz, President and Chief Executive Officer of Petronas, Yang Berbahagia Dato Abdul Razak bin Abdul Majid, Chairman of Tenaga Nasional Malaysia Berhad, Yang Berbahagia Dato Indra Insinyur Bahrain bin Din, Chief Executive Officer of Tenaga Nasional Berhad, Chairman and Chief Executive Officers of Malaysian and international organizations, senior government officials, media partners, and esteemed speakers and distinguished guests. Good morning and welcome to the Energy Transition Conference 2023, the region's largest meeting place for energy transition, brought to you by Tenaga Nasional Berhad. My name is Frida Liu. As we continue with day 2 of this conference, we're honored to announce and launch the National Energy Transition Roadmap, NETR, by the Prime Minister of Malaysia himself. At this point, we'd like to welcome Yang Berhormat Tuan Nik Nazmi bin Nik Ahmad, Minister of Natural Resources, Environment and Climate Change in Malaysia, to give his welcome remarks.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, salam Malaysia Madani. Yang amat berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim, Prime Minister of Malaysia. Yang berhormat Tuan Muhammad Rafizi Ramli, Minister of Economy Malaysia. Yang berhormat Datuk Seri Syarani bin Muhammad, Chief Minister of Perak. Yang berhormat Datuk Hajah Hanifah binti Taib, Deputy Minister, Ministry of Economy, Excellencies Ambassadors, Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Datuk Sri Muhammad Baqi bin Muhammad Saleh, Chairman of Petronas, Yang Mulia Tan Sri Tengku Muhammad Taufik, CEO of Petronas, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Abdul Razak bin Abdul Majid, Chairman of TNB, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Indra Insinyur Bahrain bin Din, CEO of TNB, senior government officials, media partners, esteemed speakers, and distinguished guests. Let me begin by thanking our Honourable Prime Minister, Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Anwar, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us on this historic occasion, the launch of Malaysia's National Energy Transition Roadmap, NETR. Datuk Seri, you have brought sustainability to the forefront of our nation's consciousness, and hence it is only right that you do the honors today. Let me also take this opportunity to thank the luminaries from the energy sector and other stakeholders for your presence and contributions thus far to this great national undertaking of ours. It is an honor for me as the NRECC Minister to share my thoughts on Malaysia's vision in decarbonizing its power sector, which will be among the key enablers for the country to achieve our net zero aspirations. Indeed, Given the scale and challenge of climate change, the energy transition is something that all countries will have to go through whether we like it or not. The question is whether we can do so successfully, equitably, and in doing so, transform our economy for the better. Ladies and gentlemen, the energy landscape in Malaysia has evolved rapidly in terms of efficiency, diversity, and sustainability. In fact, the sector has matured considerably from relying on fossil fuels to one which possesses a diverse energy mix, including from renewable sources, which now make up a quarter of our power capacity mix. Under the Paris Agreement, Malaysia has pledged to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions intensity per unit of GDP by 45% by the year 2030. And the best way to meet this is through the creation of a low-carbon energy sector. I believe the second part of the NETR, which will be unveiled later by the Prime Minister, shall provide us with the impetus to realize this. Ladies and gentlemen, the latest World Energy Transition Outlook report by IRENA, the International Renewable Energy Agency, indicated that renewable energy and energy efficiency can, in combination, provide over 90% of the necessary energy-related carbon dioxide emission reductions target under the Paris Agreement. It is important that Malaysia, in its pursuit of economic growth, balance its developmental objectives with environmental sustainability through efficiency in energy supply and demand. Our economic development thus far has been powered by oil and natural gas. However, these resources, which Malaysia is fortunately endowed with, are fast depleting. We must hence devise ways to keep energy resources and consumption in a sustainable equilibrium. Thus, the need to venture into low-emission technology is more pressing than ever. We need to transform our energy landscape and take a giant leap in reducing our dependence on conventional sources of energy. The government in May this year announced and enhanced an ambitious energy target of achieving 70% power installed renewable energy capacity in 2050. Malaysia has hit the ground running this year in ramping up the energy transition. We have, among other things, one, begun the transition to targeted electricity subsidies, as evidenced through the electricity tariff adjustments. We have also relaxed certain rules to allow more domestic users, factories, and offices to fully optimize the utilization of solar power towards achieving their ESG commitments. And three, we will be working on phasing down and ultimately phasing out existing coal power plants. This shall enable Malaysia to have in place a lower carbon energy system as a precursor towards our net zero aspiration. These positive developments will ensure that Malaysia is able to create for our people and our businesses a cleaner and greener grid. A clean grid, in turn, is the key success factor for a sustainable energy future, which is a critical building block for the high income and developed nation status that Malaysia aspires to. Today, Malaysia must ensure we can supply clean and renewable energy to attract to our shores the economic activities of the future, such as data centers, as well as high-paying jobs for our people. The 6 power-related catalytic projects announced previously under NETR are among the initiatives that will contribute towards the 70% renewable energy target and hence Malaysia's future economic competitiveness. As the Minister who oversees the electricity supply industry, you have my commitment that I will ensure the fruition of Malaysia's energy transition aspirations through a fair and just implementation process. I strongly believe that a progressive, robust, and well-developed renewable energy sector will move Malaysia forward. We must embrace the energy transition and the wider sustainability agenda as a national mission. I would like to note that for this year's COP28 in Dubai, it will be graced by the presence of our King, His Majesty the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Also, our delegation will be led by our Prime Minister. This is proof that when it comes to sustainability, Malaysia's leaders lead from the front. Ladies and gentlemen, the Malaysian government has undertaken great strides to enhance our policy and regulatory structure while fostering a comprehensive ecosystem to expedite the energy transition. However, substantial transformations in energy production and consumption are still needed. This will entail much needed investments in grid development, strengthening and modernization. It is estimated that approximately 180 billion ringgit is required up to 2050 to develop a robust and flexible grid. I was informed that the TNB's current grid system performance is already at par with developed economies, with 0.18 system minutes and a SAIDI of 45.06 minutes. To ensure that we remain a cut above, further upgrades to the grid system in facilitating the intended energy transition is necessary. Hence, I urge TNB to provide the government with a grid development roadmap for higher renewable energy integration as a technical guide in enhancing and fine-tuning the implementation of sustainable energy policies and initiatives. This should take into account the expansion of electric vehicles and data centers, cross-border power integration, and the greater deployment of renewable energy projects, including those announced under the NETR. I would like to note here that the Energy Commission was recently the recipient of the Brand Laureate Best Brands Awards 2022-2023 under the category of Nation's Pride for Energy Sector Regulation Excellence. The award was given in recognition of its exemplary performance and achievements in driving our energy transition thus far. It was also recognized for its role in promoting energy security and sustainable development, as well as in adopting innovative practices towards ensuring a smooth transition to cleaner energy sources. Ladies and gentlemen, in a few short moments, the second part of the NETR will be unveiled. My colleague, the Minister of Economy, YAB Rafizi, will speak about its contents. The roadmap will be Malaysia's overarching macro policy document covering our energy transition pathway for the power, transportation, manufacturing, and oil and gas sectors. I again reaffirm the NRECC Ministry's commitment to supporting the implementation of the NETR, as well as upholding the principle of a just and equitable energy transition. The NETR is the key we need to ensure that our energy transition, as I alluded to earlier, is successful, equitable, and positively transforms our economy. It is also arguably our bridge to the future, one which Malaysia no longer passively follows trends, but we now set the agenda and we lead, whether in Southeast Asia or, dare I say, globally. With our Hari Kebangsaan a few days away and Malaysia Day in sight, we must realize that the success or failure of our transition and climate action will determine the sort of legacy we leave for our children, the next generation of Malaysians. Every decision we make, every investment we undertake must be a building block for a better, brighter future, as the NB likes to remind us, and as we see in utility bills and posters around. Let me conclude by again thanking our Prime Minister for being here today, and I hope we will welcome you again to our next event, the International Green Tech and Eco Products Exhibition and Conference Malaysia 2023 in October. With that, I thank you all for your attention.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat. And now, speaking on revitalizing the economy, please put your hands together for Yang Berhormat Tuan Muhammad Rafizi bin Ramli, the Minister of Economy, Malaysia.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning, Yang Berhormat Dato Seri Anwar Ibrahim, the Prime Minister of Malaysia. Yang Berhormat Saudara Nik Nazmini Ahmad, Minister of NRECC. Yang berbahagia Dato Abdul Razak Abdul Majid, Chairman of TNB. Yang berbahagia Dato' Indra Insigno Baharudin, Presiden and CEO of TNB, Yang berhormat Dato' Syarani Muhammad, Menteri Besar Perak, colleagues from the Cabinet, leadership of the industry, ladies and gentlemen. We used to think that one of the blessings of living in Malaysia is that we are relatively safe from natural disasters compared to other countries. We are located outside of the typhoon belt and the Pacific Ring of Fire, and we are not prone to earthquakes and tornadoes like others. However, the natural disasters in recent years of worsening monsoons, floods, landslides, and forest fires reminded us that no country, not even a geographically blessed country like Malaysia, is protected from devastating effects of climate change. For many decades, developing countries like Malaysia could not be faulted for prioritizing economic growth as a primary motivation. Poverty, income inequality, and low-skilled workforce took most of developing countries' headspace. And this came at the expense of the environment as carbon emissions and economic growth were not compatible in the past. But something has changed in the past few years. The cost of renewable energy has rapidly declined and will likely to be lower than the cost of fossil fuels very soon. The cost of solar today has dropped by a factor of 5,000 since it was first used in 1958. The cost of lithium-ion batteries, a major cost component in EVs and grid-scale energy storage, has fallen by 90% in the past decade. This was made possible by better technology, economies of scale, and most importantly, because governments that invested heavily at the start because they had the conviction of a better world. So ladies and gentlemen, that is why this administration is pushing the most ambitious pro-growth climate action in our history so far. We could see where the world is going, and we are willing to put forth money, policy, and commitment to meet our biggest challenges of our time. This decade for our country is the decades of action, and the National Energy Transition Roadmap, NETR or NETA, depending whichever you like to pronounce it, is the start of remaking of the next generation. Every of the 50 initiatives set forth in NETA, spurred by the 10 flagship projects, are meant to not only bring us closer to our net zero aspirations, but to unlock the economic value that underlies it. The strategy set forth in NETA does not come from an imagined ideal state of the world or what leading countries are doing. Instead, they come from a sobering understanding of the world as it is, a realistic view of Malaysia's strengths, and a pragmatic view of what needs to be done to grow. The first step was to set stretch targets so that the slight discomfort could drive creativity and innovation in reaching them. By 2050, we are stretching first the RE installed capacity target to 70%. Secondly, the energy efficiency savings target to 20%. And thirdly, the EV penetration to 80%. We are introducing the Responsible Transition 2050, which is a low-carbon pathway for the energy sector from now till 2050, more ambitious than the low-carbon nation aspiration 2040 that was set forth previously a few years ago. The environmental gains are enormous. This pathway will reduce the GHG emissions from 259 gigagrams of carbon dioxide equivalent 275 gigagrams in 2050. On top of that, it will also unlock the economic value brought by the initiatives and enablers. For the economy, we are expecting a 10 to 15% uplift in GDP value from market-creating products that are high growth and high value. There will also be a 32% reduction in emissions in the energy sector, besides bringing in a higher volume of green FDIs into the country. For the businesses, infrastructure and technology would become the impetus for investments to flow through. Cleaner energy mix and energy efficiency would also future-proof our businesses and industries so that we are prepared for a world where money responds to the greenest products. And for the people, 350,000 jobs are expected to be created in high-growth, high-value sectors across the country. And importantly, 70% of income gains will flow to low and medium-income households. The upskilling opportunities that are created could also give Malaysian workers the chance to work on something fulfilling and fully utilize their skills. So, ladies and gentlemen, in order to realize these economic gains for the country, there are three critical structures that will become the bedrock of the NETA ambitions. We need strong governance, substantial financing, and a credible and transparent exchange system. These cornerstone structures carry with them critical multipliers that could accelerate growth. So the first one, governance. The establishment of the National Energy Council is the strongest signal yet of the government's intention of moving beyond blueprints and into the nitty-gritty of implementation. The National Energy Council, to be chaired by the Prime Minister, and which the Ministry of Economy is Secretariat, would set forth high-level strategic directions and policies, allowing for the working committees to coordinate and report the progress in turn. And Dato Seri, we plan to hold the first sitting of National Energy Council as early as October this year, inshallah. Second, on the financing. The National Energy Transition Facility is not just another facility that houses government investments. Instead, the facility will adopt an innovative blended finance instruments that combines the funding from public, private, and philanthropic channels. At the heart of it, the blended finance instrument is meant for the government seed investment to mobilize additional private capital that triple or quadruple the initial seed amount. And thirdly, the energy exchange. What we could say for certain is that we will never be able to fully unlock the true potential of RE without establishing a physical energy exchange in the country. At the basic level, an exchange is necessary for the country to command the price premiums of RE that comes from cross-border trading. As the exchange matures, market-creating products could be created to further unlock the value of different markets that yield healthy returns to the participants. We expect the exchange to facilitate the closer interconnectedness of Southeast Asia, which mutually benefits the region as a single economic bloc. And of course, to make this exchange fair and transparent, a single market aggregator will need to be established so that the exchange is trusted by not only local buyers and sellers, but also internationally. Ladies and gentlemen, although Malaysia only contributes 0.8% of the global greenhouse gas emissions, we are ready and willing to participate in the global efforts to climate action. NETA is the government's most conclusive proof that we are not merely paying lip service to the climate goals, we are here to take action. Most importantly, this government has also framed our climate actions as an opportunity to unlock the economic value that will change the lives of millions of Malaysians in the next few decades. Behind our ambition is a high hope and high degree of practicalness. Behind our idealism for a hopeful future is an economic realism waiting to be actualized. Net zero is not a zero-sum equation. Reducing our carbon emissions must not come at the expense of economic growth. We look forward to seizing upon these unprecedented opportunities and building a better and more resilient Malaysia together for the next generation. And the journey of energy transition in this country has just begun earnestly. And this is an opportunity for us to remake our country and through the inseparable bonds of kinship to remake the world. So thank you very much, Dato Seri, for gracing our launch today. Thank you everyone for joining us at our momentous launch. With all of your help, we wish the NETA every bit of success. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Yang Berhormat. It is now my pleasure and honor to invite up on stage the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Yang Amat Berhormat Dato Seri Anwar bin Ibrahim, for his keynote address and the official launch of the National Energy Transition Roadmap.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulil karim. Saudara Menteri-Menteri Rafizi dan Nik Nazmi, pengurus dan pimpinan Tenaga Nasional dan Petronas, Timbalan Menteri, tetamu yang saya muliakan. Alhamdulillah kita dapat meluncurkan suatu rencana sangat bermakna bagi negara kita. Dan saya ingin mengambil kesempatan untuk mengucapkan penghargaan setingginya kepada kedua-kedua menteri dan kementerian masing-masing, Tenaga, Petronas, penjawat awam dan sektor swasta yang telah mengambil satu tindakan persiapan yang agak serius, agak ke Malaysia bukan saja tidak ketinggalan tapi agak ke depan dalam mempersiapkan negara dengan hala tuju yang jelas. So, saudara, peluncuran ini bermakna kerana ia menunjukkan satu sikapnya lebih bertanggungjawab di kalangan pimpinan. Kerana ini juga merencana kepentingan masa depan generasi akan datang. Jadi, selain mengucap tahniah, saya ingin menjelaskan bahawa langkah berikut itu lebih bermakna. Dan kita akan buktikan insya-Allah berbeza daripada peluncuran strategi dan wawasan. Peluncuran ini mesti disusuli dengan tindakan yang serius oleh semua agensi, kementerian dan rakan-rakan bertanggungjawab. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as alluded to by both ministers, the world has long been dependent on carbon-based fuels to produce energy. As we continue to power up our economy with fossil fuels, generating vibrant growth and expansion, so did carbon emissions, which grew at an exponential rate, adversely impacting our environment and triggering a global climate crisis. Do we have the solutions and technologies to resolve the issue? Could raising the use of sustainable and clean energy sources in the total energy mix be the definitive answer. For Malaysia, while we have a vibrant oil and gas industry, the country recognizes the importance of renewable energy, RE sources. In the early 1990s, RE was named the fifth fuel under the National Energy Policy. Today, the RE sources are solar, mini hydro, biomass, and biogas. RE supply in Malaysia is now at 25%, and we are on the right track to source 31% of its power capacity from renewables by 2025 and 40% by 2040. The NETR, Rafizi said, netter. You have a choice. This is a democratic country. The NETR details how we will achieve these objectives. Electricity and heat generation by burning fossil fuels, namely coal, oil, or gas, emit a huge amount of greenhouse gases. As a result of this, the energy sector has been identified as the largest greenhouse gases emitter into the atmosphere. This contributes to climate change, which is happening at an even faster pace than before. Under the Paris Agreement, countries should reduce their greenhouse gas emissions accordingly. In the 12th Malaysia Plan, we pledged a net zero GHG emissions as early as 2050. Ladies and gentlemen, since I took office, the government has reviewed the decarbonization plans to see if we could do more. We examined several factors, including policy and regulatory frameworks, to mobilize households and businesses to shift their behavior, viable technological solutions to green operations, and whether there were global carbon mitigation opportunities available to Malaysia to help us to decarbonize. The IEA reports that investment in clean energy is expected to reach $1.7 trillion in 2023. There is also a strong desire for international collaboration that will provide additional avenues to decarbonize. There are vast opportunities that will come with clean energy transitions across the supply chain, from manufacturers of solar panels, electric vehicle EV charging facilities, and battery energy storage to a host of other technologies. All these developments provide impetus for us to restructure our economy while boosting investment opportunities in green growth. The energy transition is one of the initiatives to restructure the Malaysian economy under Ekonomi Madani Memperkasa Rakyat framework. The NETR will provide policy clarity in shaping Malaysia as a leader in energy transition among Asian economies. It is a starting point to mainstream energy transition in the national development narrative, which will bring positive and sustainable results to the energy sector and the economy. The NETR will accelerate and navigate the nation's energy transition measures on a larger scale, thus ensuring success in shifting from a traditional fossil fuel-based economy to a high-value, green, and sustainable economy. The primary goal is to change the way energy is generated in Malaysia by accelerating the energy transition. This can resolve the climate change crisis. With the implementation of initiatives under the NETR, Malaysia is set to be at the forefront of becoming a regional leader in energy transition and RE industry. The NETR identified 6 energy transition levers, along with 10 flagship projects and 50 initiatives. The champions of the projects and initiatives are among public sector, GLCs and industry players, signifying a whole of Malaysia approach. Energy efficiency, as one of the energy transition levers, offers effective long-term solutions to manage our energy consumption, thus reducing carbon emissions. The government will launch a major retrofit program to enhance energy efficiency in government buildings. In this regard, an ESCO Energy Service Companies platform will be established to connect private ESCOs, which are mainly SMEs, with government projects. The central role of the platform would be to serve as an intermediary that pools government building retrofitting projects and encourages public-private coordination in ESCO market. In May this year, the government set out an ambitious target to achieve 70% renewable energy installed capacity by 2050 and lifted the ban on cross-border trade and renewable energy. A renewable energy exchange will be established. Originally, it's supposed to be end of the year, but Rafizi insisted it should be earlier. Good luck to him. And I'm with him on this. Just whispered to Ning Nazmi that we should facilitate, accelerate the process, because we cannot be left behind. And therefore, to fasten the pace is, to me, a reasonable proposition. So that will act as a market aggregator that will enable price discovery and monetize excess power. As the paramount challenge in energy transition is financing, it is estimated that an investment of at least 1.5 trillion ringgit between 2023 and 2050 is needed to enable responsible energy transition. Within this decade alone, the government requires between 60 billion and 90 billion ringgit to be allocated for crucial projects, among others, expansion of public transportation, strengthening grid infrastructure, and reskilling of human capital. Considering Malaysia's current state of mature decarbonization technologies, our progress will significantly hinge on alternative energy sources and robust regional and international collaboration. In this regard, the government will allocate 2 billion ringgit as seed fund for the National Energy Transition Facility. As Minister of Finance, I'm very familiar with this. They will only applaud when you announce the billions, not otherwise. Now, this facility will enable catalytic blended finance to ensure a seamless flow of financial resources towards energy transition projects that are marginally bankable or yielding below market returns. For example, investment in EV value chain, hydrogen, and CCUS technologies. Now, the National Energy Council will be activated to ensure holistic energy planning and policy development while monitoring progress of the NETR. I will personally see to it that the Council functions as mandated. Now, ladies and gentlemen, detractors to the contrary notwithstanding, energy transition is not an option. The government welcomes the private sector to be an equal partner by participating and investing in this transition. The Energy Transition Initiative brings about a trilemma that requires us to balance sustainability, security, and affordability in the energy sector. Whilst Malaysia's move to embrace sustainability has been gaining momentum, emphasis is also given to ensuring we can provide affordable energy as well as energy security. We are optimistic, inshallah, that the NETR will succeed in the balancing act. NETR will drive the creation of high-paying job opportunities and boost domestic and foreign investment participation while ensuring the continuity of Malaysia's green energy supply. Ultimately, this will make Malaysia a regional leader in the clean energy industry. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as collective efforts can drive positive change for a cleaner and more sustainable future, we need to focus on the importance of international collaborations in expediting the energy transition initiative. By working together, we can leverage our collective strength to accelerate the deployment of renewable technologies, the development of innovative energy storage solutions, and the enhancement of energy efficiency practices. Malaysia's strategic position as the ASEAN Energy Hub enables us to play a pivotal role in advancing the region's sustainable energy future towards net zero ASEAN. Notably, utility companies such as TNB and Sarawak Energy are progressing in the cross-border business, leveraging the ASEAN power grid. This will improve broader energy security prospects and further enhance economic integration with neighboring countries. TNB is leading discussions with ASEAN utilities and governments for resource sharing and flexibility solutions at scale. The move will accelerate the energy transition pace in a responsible manner while balancing the elements of the energy trilemma. Ladies and gentlemen, to conclude, once again, I would like to congratulate TNB for hosting this inaugural Energy Transition Conference 2023. As I have alluded to earlier, I am proud to say, after monitoring the progress of government bodies and agencies, I would salute the professionalism, integrity, dedication of bodies like TNB and Petronas. This conference will be instrumental in accelerating a responsible energy transition in both local and regional collaboration to strengthen inter-regional grid connections, in particular for the ASEAN region, towards greater energy security. With the commitment to accelerate a responsible energy transition for Malaysia, let us unite under Malaysia Madani banner to progress forward. Let's foster a future where green principles and the aspirations of net zero GHG emissions drive our endeavors. As a guiding philosophy of nationhood, the Madani framework will take us on a continuous journey to achieve a just, equitable, and humane society in pursuing the nation's development holistically and putting the needs of the people first. In the spirit of Merdeka, which we will celebrate the next 2 days with the theme Malaysia Madani, Tekad Perpaduan, Penuh Harapan. We will continue to build a better and more vibrant Malaysia for the benefit of the rakyat and for the next generation. Rakan-rakan Menteri, Menteri Besar Perak dan rakan-rakan, saya ucapkan sekali lagi ribuan terima kasih dan penghargaan kepada semua yang bersama. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister. We'd like to invite you to remain on stage. And at this point, I'd also like to invite Yang Berhormat Tuan Muhammad Rafizi and Yang Berhormat Tuan Nik Nazmi for the launch of the National Energy Transition Roadmap. And what I'll do at my countdown, on my countdown, we'll press the ball and signify the launch. 3, 2, 1. Please place your hands.
Empowered by our strengths and guided by Economy Madani, we're laying the groundwork towards rebuilding a better Malaysia. Economy Madani encapsulates ambitions that involve regionalization, economic restructuring, and enhancing competitiveness. Raising the ceiling of Malaysia's economy into green growth and fortifying climate resilience. As the world rapidly evolves, energy assumes a pivotal role in shaping the future. Our goal is balancing the energy trilemma. The National Energy Transition Roadmap paves the way for a future powered by renewable energy that spurs economic growth. Envisioning an energy transition that is fair and accessible to all while contributing to a higher quality of life for all Malaysians. The accelerated pace of energy transition will be delivered through 10 flagship catalyst projects and 50 initiatives aimed at achieving net zero. By capitalizing on these 5 key enablers, we will be able to meet our goals for Malaysia to restructure its economy and maximize its green growth. The National Energy Transition Roadmap ensures future energy security while reducing greenhouse gas emissions. The National Energy Transition Roadmap will drive initiatives that bring a positive impact on our economy, industry and communities. Join us in accelerating a responsible energy transition for a better and brighter tomorrow.
Congratulations again on the launch of the National Energy Transition Roadmap. I would like to invite the Prime Minister and both the ministers to the center of the stage. And now I'd like to, once we get the Yang Berhormat, the Prime Minister, together with the ministers, the ushers will be passing you the tablets. The tablets to the Prime Minister and to both the ministers to signify the launch of the NETR. All right. And the NETR report can be downloaded today at the Ministry of Economy's website, economy.gov.my, and that's EKONOMI. And thank you to the ushers as well. We also have another significant announcement, and we're very honored that the Prime Minister and the ministers are here to witness exchange of documents between Petronas and TNB. And this is an MOU to explore carbon capture and storage technology for gas-fired power plants. Of course, we have the Chairman and CEO of Tenaga Nasional up on stage, Yang Berbahagia Dato Abdul Razak and Yang Berbahagia Dato Insinyur Indra, Dato Indra Insinyur Bahrain. And from Petronas, we have Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Dato Muhammad Bakir Saleh, the Chairman, and Yang Mulia Tan Sri Tengku Muhammad Taufik, the President Group CEO. We'll now invite the CEOs to exchange the documents to be witnessed by the Prime Minister, the ministers, and the Chairman. Congratulations once again on this MOU between Petronas and Tenaga Nasional. I would like everyone to pose for a group photo. Thank you once again to Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister here on the launch of the NETR, and now he'll be going for a tour of the tunnel. Thank you to the Prime Minister. And we'll be taking a short 10-minute break before we continue. And a reminder again, food is served in Hall 5, which is to my left, and the exhibition halls are